Good morning, good morning, good morning, family and friends. It is Tuesday. It's 11:30. Y'all know what we do on Tuesdays at 11:30. We go live, honey. We go live. I got something good for you guys today. I promise you I got something good for you. I want to take you back to this song. And y'all know every now and then I got to pull in a song. And today I'm feeling kind of songy. Y'all. I want to pull in this song. And it was way back in the day. And they would do this music. Let me see if y'all catching this music. That music would say do 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 do, and then the person would come in and they would sing this saying, give it all you got, give it all you got, get up on this, give it all you got, give it all you got. Y'all remember that song that do? Hey Billy, do 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 do. Y'all remember that song back in the day? That was give it all you got, give it all you got, get up on this. Y'all remember that song? Hey Keisha, baby, I was in the house and I was thinking about this song, right? That song, get up on this, give it all you got. That's the lyrics to the song. Billy, thank you, Billy. You showing me some love. That's the lyrics to the song. Honey, let me tell you, I was thinking about that song, and then I began to just think about everything that has been going on. And y'all know what we do on Tuesdays, baby. Tuesday, we get in that word. And I thought about this thing called perspective. Oftentimes, we go through life. I got visuals today, honey. I got some visuals. We gonna have a good time. Hey there, Earl. Oftentimes, we go through life, and hey, daddy, and we look at the glass, and our perspective will either say it's half empty, or our perspective will say that it's half full. But I want to give you a story in the Bible where you can get a picture of water and that picture will be full all the time. What story could that be? It's in the Gospel of John. And in the Gospel of John, y'all, is coming from chapter 4. And it talks about how Jesus was going through this city called Samaria, right? So he's going through the city of Samaria. And as he's going through the city, it says that he was tired. Now, y'all know how it feels to be tired. Don't y'all judge Jesus because they said that he was tired. In verse number 6, it said that he was wearied from his journey. And let's look at 2020 alone. 2020 alone, when I turned on the news a couple of days ago, I began to feel the weariness, just like some of you. In 2020, we have lost a lot of iconic people. It started off, and I'm just going to take you through a little memory lane so that you can get this thing called perspective into place. It started off with Kobe Bryant in January. Y'all remember Kobe Bryant and his daughter lost him in January. Travel on to March. Some of y'all may be familiar with Fred Curly Neal. He was a basketball player with the Globetrotters. Y'all might remember him. We lost him in March. Andre Harrell. I want to say O'Neal Harrell. I want to put that little thing in there. Lost him in May. Betty Wright, we lost her in May. Nicole Thea, I'm going to talk about these people, lost in July. Civil rights icons like Mr. Vivian, Mr. John C. Lewis, lost them in July. And then Mr. Chadwick Boseman, we lost him in August. Where am I going with this? Where am I going? Hey there, Mr. Rodney, where am I going with this information? We understand what it feels like to be weary. Just by what you go through in this year alone in 2020, it has been a journey. So when it tells us in the Gospel of John in chapter 4, verse 6, that Jesus was weary from his journey, we understand what that looks and feels like. But what I got excited about, y'all, it says that the Samaritan woman came up to Jesus and she came to get her little cup and to get something to drink. And while she was there, Jesus said to this woman, he said, y'all know I always paraphrase. You know I paraphrase. He said, give me something to drink. And here she goes. She said, now look, you don't even deal with folks like me. You asking me to give you something to drink? Come on now. And then I love Jesus's response because she had a certain perspective. She was looking at her glass as it was being this half empty. You want something from me? I can't give you nothing. That's how she was acting. Hey there, Shonda. And what Jesus said to her, he said, look, I got a whole picture. If you knew who I was, even though I'm tired, even though I'm weary, you would understand that I still got something to give. That's what I want to talk to this morning. I want to talk to the people out there that still got something to give. I want to take you back to that song. Y'all remember that song? I started out with it. They would do that little music. Doom, do, 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 do. Then they would say, give it all you got. Get up on this. Y'all remember that song? That's the thing. Hey, Julia, my sister watching. Good morning, Julia. That's the thing I want you to dial in today. What is your perspective? See, Jesus told her, Look, you thinking that this is what I want from you, but your perspective is off. Y'all know how sometimes we can have our perspective and it's off. We don't know if the glass is half empty or it's half full. I just went through all of those people that we have transitioned in the year 2020. You don't know how to look at it. You're looking at the situation. You say, well, Kobe Bryant, we lost Kobe Bryant in the beginning of this year. But this is what I want you to do. I want you to pull on the picture of his life, not the glass of his life. Let me show you how it looks. See, oftentimes we go through life and there's something that we can do. Y'all, I got a pot. I told y'all I got visuals today, honey. I got some visuals. We got a pot right here. And let's say that we wanted to plant. And we can go through life and we can look at, let's start with Mr. Kobe Bryant. We can look at his life and say, well, you know what? Why did Mr. Kobe Bryant have to leave this earth in the beginning of 2020? Why did he have to transition so soon? But what he did was he left us some soil. He left us something that we can turn around and do something with, but you won't be ever able to do anything if you're looking at life and you're looking at it half empty. So let me show you how this thing works. Now let's go back to Mr. Kobe. Mr. Kobe, he had this thing, and his thing was called the Mamba mentality. Y'all know the Mamba mentality. The Mamba mentality, I did some research. I said, now if I look at this Mamba mentality and I did the research to see what it meant to be the best version of yourself. It meant to be the best you that you could ever be. Exactly what he said in his own quote, and I don't even have to paraphrase it still. What he said is, you can be better today than what you was yesterday. So I've decided that I'm going to take this right here from Mr. Kobe Bryant. I'm going to put this in my little pot because I can plant and I can grow some things out of that type of mentality if I don't look at life as being half empty. So what is it saying? Mamba mentality, be the best version of yourself. I just told you that we also lost Mr. Fred Curly O'Neal, not O'Neal, Mr. Fred Curly Neal. He was a globetrotter. He was a basketball player. Now I could look at life and say, man, he was one of the globetrotters. He was awesome. He was good. Why did he have to transition this world in the month of March? Why did he have to leave? And God said, but I don't want you to look at this thing half full, baby. I want you to look at what he left behind and do something with it. When I look at what he left behind, it said that the reason they called him Curly Neal, see, his name was really just Fred Neal, but Curly became because he shaved his head bald. And y'all remember the Three Stooges? Y'all remember the Three Stooges? They was crazy. They was comical, but people started mimicking him and kind of picking on him a little bit, trying to compare him to somebody that was silly. But he began to do some things and show them, baby, I got some talent and I'm some skills. And that bald head is the thing that they said distinguished him so that he could be recognized amongst all of those players in the court. People remembered Mr. Fred Curly Neal is what they started calling him because of that bald head. So what I want to say to you is, do you still got something to give? See, we can look at it and say, wow, he left this earth. Or we can say, man, that was somebody that wasn't afraid to be unique. That was somebody that wasn't going to let people pick at him and call him all kind of names, and then he stopped using his gift. No, he was a basketball player. He knew how to entertain. He knew how to get the crowd going. So we can look at his life and we can plant something and do something with that. You can build upon it. I talked to you about Mr. Andre O'Neal, Mr. Andre Harrell. Andre Harrell. Y'all remember Andre Harrell? Andre Harrell was the one that discovered Puff Daddy, baby. He was the one that discovered Mary J. Blige. He was the one that put some songs together with Anita Baker. Y'all remember Caught Up in the Rapture of Love? I know y'all remember that song by Anita Baker. Mr. Andre Harrell, people can look at his life and say, oh my goodness, he did so many things. Why did Mr. Harrell have to leave this world in May? Well, maybe it wasn't just for him to leave. It was so that he could give us something that we could build upon, that we can plant with. He showed us what collaboration looks like. We can say, you know what, now he's here and now he's done gone and left and he did all of this, but what you gonna do with what he did? Did you get the gift of collaboration out of his life? Did you understand what I said? Was he listening to what I talked to you about? It was Mr. Harrell that said, let me get with somebody like Mary and let me get with somebody like Anita. Let's collaborate. Somebody watching this video today knows that there's somebody that has a gift, and there's somebody else that has a gift, and if you guys can put it together, y'all can do some things. See, what we need to do is not look at life like this, but we need to start to look at life like this and say, man, wait a minute, I can get something out of these people that transition. Hey there, Ronnie, I can make something out of this, and not just look at it as an opportunity to just cry and to mourn those that left, but they left legacies behind so that we could do something with it. I told you about Miss Betty Wright. Now let me tell you about Miss Betty Betty Wright. Now, Miss Betty Wright, can I tell you that wasn't her real name? Baby, can I tell you that wasn't her real name? Miss Betty Wright's real name was Bessie Regina Norris. Bessie Regina Norris. That was her real name. But at the age of 2 years old, that's why you can't sleep on these young kids, baby. You can't sleep on these young kids. At the age of 2 years old, she was performing in a gospel group. That's Miss Betty Wright. Yes, she was. And from the ages of 2 to 11, Miss Betty Wright was on stage and she was using her gift to sing. She was using her gift to sing. See, we could look at her life and say, well, man, that was just a life, another singer that's gone. No, do you have a gift? Do you have a talent? Do you know a young person that's out there that just thinks that they can't do it because they're too young and they're not old enough yet? Baby, I want you to speak into their life. Share this video with them and let them know that there's people like Betty Wright that at age 2 to 11, honey, at 14 years old, she recorded her first album. Show them how you can pour into your life by building upon the soil of somebody else that has transitioned. See, all of these legendary folks transition, but we don't have to just cry. We don't have to get in despair and be sad about it. No, we can remember their memory by building upon it and doing something with it still. That's what we're supposed to do. It tells us, now when I read a little bit more about Miss Betty Wright, she had children and she was married 3 times and divorced. Honey, let me tell you. Some of y'all done been through some things and you think that because you are, hey there, Sister Trish, you think that just because you went through a divorce, that you done separated from who used to be the love of your life, that you can't do nothing, that now you got to start all over. Can I tell you, let me tell you something about Miss Betty Wright. Miss Betty Wright was singing at 2 years old and she was singing after the first divorce, the second divorce, and the third divorce. What she knew is that she had a gift and she could not allow that gift to die with a marriage that wasn't successful. Some of y'all can just push on in there and say, you know what, I'm going to learn something from Miss Betty Wright's life. I'm going to learn how to keep on going even when I have to say goodbye to some folks. I'm going to learn to push through. I talked to you about Miss Nicole Thea. Miss Nicole Thea, now y'all may not know Miss Nicole Thea, but some of y'all do. Nicole Thea was this lady that was on YouTube. She was to stop doing that. I'm back, honey. They calling me. I'm back. Nicole Thea was 24 years old when she transitioned. She transitioned, but here's the thing. She was just 24, but she had 80,000 followers on YouTube. 80,000 followers was following her on YouTube, and all she was doing was using her life. She was not only a dancer, but she was a designer. She was not only a dancer and a designer, she was into social media. She knew how to get on there and just speak to the folks and motivate them and encourage them. So you can look at this and say, wow, Nicole died so young, and she did die young. But can I tell you, at that young age of 24, that girl gave it all she got. She said, I got talent, and some of y'all are like, man, I know how to do this and I know how to do that, and maybe I should just focus on one thing. But maybe God is saying you better maximize the life you have, baby. You better learn how to just do everything that you got and throw it all at it. Some of y'all know how to cook and you got the best recipe that's waiting on us. Some of y'all know how to do some building and we wait for y'all to put up something that we ain't never seen before. Some of y'all are good at writing and you know how to get real creative, and we waiting on the book, Jenny. We waiting on the book from you, baby. Y'all got talents and you got gifts, and I want you to look at the life of Nicole Thea and not say, man, she was gone too soon, but say, no, Lord, I'm not going to look at this from a half cup perspective. I'm going to look at it as that young lady lived a full life. She lived a full life, and I'm going to build upon it. You got it still. Maximize your talents. I'm going to do something with the memory of Nicole. I'm going to give it all that I got. I done told you that song, give it all you got. Give it all you got. Y'all know the song. Hey there, Lamont. So we can continue to look at people's lives that have transitioned in this year alone, and we can do something with it. You know, I got to talk to you about Mr. C.T. Vivian. Mr. C.T. Vivian, he was an icon, a civil rights icon, and it says that from a teenager, he saw the things and the civil unrest that was going on in this world. The news media also said that he was someone that was all like considered to be the general of Martin Luther King. He stood with him and he walked with him and he marched with him. We got some teenagers out there. All of the teenagers are not bad. Can I say this real loud and clear? Let me slide this out the way. All of the teenagers are not bad. Sometimes sometimes they're just looking for somebody to create a platform so that they can get to the next level. They need somebody to show them the way. And what Mr. C.T. Vivian did is he tapped into Mr. Martin Luther King Jr. and he said that this is a platform that I can build on, so we can look at his life and say, man, Mr. Vivian is gone, but what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with the soil that he left behind, baby? You can take that soil and say, Mr. Vivian is gone, but you know what? Mr. Vivian taught me that as a young person, I can stand for something. As a young person, I can stand for the things that I believe in, and I can encourage some other young people. I can be the platform that takes them to the next level. Hey there, Lou. I can be the platform that helps somebody to get stronger, where one day they will become an icon. I don't have to sit down and be quiet because there's civil unrest. I know that there's something that I can do. And let's talk about now Mr. John Lewis. You know, we got to talk about Mr. John Lewis. What I loved about Mr. John Lewis, now we can cry about his death. We can, because it was sad that he transitioned. I don't want to minimize that. But what I believe he would want us to do, good morning, Trishonda, what I believe Mr. Lewis would want us to do is walk out the legacy that he created. I don't think he wants to just look at it and say, oh, Mr. Lewis is gone and he lived a great life and now we just sad and now we in despair and now we've lost hope. No, let me give you the quote. You know, Mr. Lewis was famous for this thing talking about good trouble. And I did a little research. Y'all know I did some research. And it not only said good trouble, he said get in necessary trouble. What Mr. Lewis said, let me give it to you. He said, I don't want you to get lost in a place where you're in a sea of despair. He said, I don't want you to get to a place where you're not hopeful, where you think that you can't be optimistic. He said, I need you to stay hopeful. I need you to say, I can do something with this. I can look at the life of Mr. Lewis and I can stand for something and not fall for everything. He says, I know that you're looking at the struggle. Every time somebody dies, you're saying that's another person gone, and something dies inside of your spirit as well. But this is what I want you to take up the words of Mr. Lewis. He said, I need you to get past what you're just seeing in the moment. What he's saying is, I need you to check your perspective. It's not half empty. He said, what I need you to do is have a perspective where you see the full picture, baby. He said, I need you to understand that the struggle is not the thing that we see on today. The struggle is not the thing that we see this week. The struggle is not the thing we see this month. The struggle is not the thing that we see in one calendar year. 2020 has been rough, but there is a 2021 that's coming afterwards, baby. There's a 2022, and you got to have this perspective to say, yep, 2020 kicked our butts, but I still got something to give. There's a future that God has in place with me, and that future has this thing called hope. And what Mr. John Lewis said, he said, I don't need you to be the person that's afraid to make some noise. He said, every now and then, get in good trouble and get in necessary trouble. That's what we can take from the life of Mr. John Lewis. And we can cry about it, and we can say, man, he's gone, but what you gonna do with his soil, baby? You can do some things with that. And then let's go on where we're at now today. It just happened in August. We lost Mr. Chadwick Boseman. Let me tell you what blew my mind about that particular death that just occurred. Not his age. Yes, he was 43 years old. He was a young man. But it wasn't that. It was when I looked at the article and I read that he filmed all of these things as an actor that we love so much, the Black Panther, and he did the baseball movie. He did all of these movies that we loved so much, that motivated us and encouraged us. But I read what his wife said about him. His wife said that he was shooting those movies while he was dealing with his medical condition, that it was during and sometimes in between surgeries, multiple surgeries, during and sometimes in between chemotherapy, that he said that I still got to shoot this film. I still got to tell the story of the legendary baseball player. I still got to encourage the black people and the white people to know that there's something positive that can come out of your life. It said that he pressed on beyond his condition and he persevered. This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. We can get lost in the fact that, you know what, yes, we have lost some very special and important people in 2020. But what are you going to do with that? Are you just going to have a bucket of dirt and say, you know what, now they're gone and this is all that we can say about it, and Lord, we miss them, and God, why? And they were too young and they died too soon, and Lord, I don't understand. And we can set ourselves there and drink from this half cup. That's what we can do. But when I go back to John, the Gospel of John, with the Samaritan woman. Jesus, although he was wearied on his journey, it's wearying when we look at the death of Mr. Kobe Bryant. And then right behind it, we have Mr. Fred Curly Neal. And right behind it, we had Mr. Andre Harrell. And right behind it, we had Miss Betty Wright. And right behind it, we had Nicole Thea. And right behind it, we had C.T. Vivian. And right behind it, we had Mr. John Lewis. And right behind it, we had Chadwick Boseman. It's wearying, but can I tell you what Jesus did? Jesus said to the Samaritan woman, look, baby, if you knew that I living water, if you understood, see, you looking at life like this right here, and I'm trying you to get to look at life like this right here. Because see, what I told you is you can do some things if you look at things from the right perspective. I told you growing a pineapple a couple of weeks ago. This is my pineapple plant right here. I took the top off the pineapple and I let it grow in some water right here, and it grew in that area, but now it's time to do something with it. Now it's time for me to do something with this pineapple. What this represents is you and I. This represents me. It represents you. It represents the person that was in an environment, and now every time you hear of a death of somebody that was famous and iconic and legendary, it takes something from you. It takes something from you. But what you gonna do when it takes something from you? I want you to take their lives and do something good with it. I want you to give it all you got. I want you to get to the place where you say, you know what? I'm gonna take this stuff, and you know when people transition, they put them in the ground, right? I want you to take their life and I want you to build upon it, because see, here's the thing. What I realized, this is a deep pot. This is a deep pot, baby. And in order to plant this right here, you gotta go through a couple of things so that you can grow up to who God wants you to be. I don't want you to be the person that's afraid to get your hands dirty. And here's the thing. I'm gonna put this plant in here, and hands dirty, I was using it because sometimes we go through our own things. It's not just what we saw in the media. We're the person, and you know what? We got a lot of gifts and talents, and we don't know what to do with them. And God is telling you, look at the life of Nicole, baby, and give it all you got. Some of us are people, and we're dealing with medical conditions, and you don't know what to do with it. And God is telling you, look at the life of Mr. Chadwick Boseman and give it all you got. Some of you are dealing with things that what to do with it. God is telling you today, look at the life. Go on and get your hands dirty at Miss Betty Wright and give it all you got. You still got something to offer, baby. You still got something to give. Some of us are thinking, oh, I'm just an athlete. And no, you're not just an athlete. You got a talent and a skill that entertains people and makes people come together in family rooms and flick channels, and they watch you. You are the next football player, basketball player, golfer, tennis player. You got an athlete. God gave you that skill. Look at the life of Mr. Kobe Bryant. Look at the life of Mr. Fred Neal and give it all you got. Don't you stop because there's a coronavirus going on, honey. Don't you stop because there's civil unrest going on in the world. Don't you stop because police officers still doing shooting. Don't you stop because who you see in the presidential office. Baby, you keep on living. You keep on giving it all you got, because at some point, all of this stuff piles up. All of this stuff piles up, but what you gonna do with it? Andrew, hey Andrew, good morning to you. What are you gonna do with it? This is what I want you to do, baby. I want you to get to a place where you plant yourself and you say, I'm gonna use their life, and I'm going to use their life, and I'm going to pack it all in. Because, see, in order to get these roots in the ground, honey, you got to pack it all in, because I'm going to use the wisdom of Mr. Lewis. I'm going to use the inspiration of Mr. Andre Harrell. I'm going to use the inspiration of Mr. Kobe Bryant. I'm going to use the inspiration of Betty Wright. I'm going to use the inspiration of Nicole Thea. I'm going to use the inspiration of Mr. John Mr. Vivian. I'm going to use the inspiration of Fred Curly. I'm going to pack it all in. I'm not going to allow this stuff to get into my mind where I look at life and it's half empty. I'm going to use the lives of those that in this year alone showed me that if I really want to give it all I got, I can. If I really want to be somebody that when my time comes, because all of us got an appointment with death. I hate to be that plain about it, but that's the truth. What will they say about you? Will they say that you were somebody like a Nicole that you were somebody that wasn't afraid to inspire the world, and you had 80,000 followers that were listening to you and that wanted to just know what did you have to say. Well, they say that you're somebody that created things and you danced and you designed the gifts and talents God gave you and you weren't ashamed to use them. 24 years old, she didn't know 24, but she lived a full life. She gave it all that she had. Will they be able to say that you're somebody like a Kobe Bryant and you had a theme like the Mamba mentality and you said, I'm showing up every day and I'm giving the best version of myself. When I show up in corporate America, they're going to get the best. When I show up to my family, they're going to get the best version of me. When I show up to the schoolhouse, they're going to get the version of me. When I show up to my friends and we hanging out, they're gonna get the best version of me. When I look in the mirror at my identity, I'm gonna give myself the best version of me. Do you have the Mamba mentality? Are you taking his life, Mr. Bryant's, and doing something with it, baby? Are you like a Fred Curley? You say, no, I'm a little unique and I'm a little strange and I'm a little odd and there's something that's different about me, but it makes me stand out. It makes me recognizable. People won't ever blend me in and say that, oh, I thought it was so and so. But when I walk in the room with my bald head like Mr. Fred Curley Neal with the Globetrotters, people know that I've arrived. What will they say about you when you transition, baby? Will they say that you were somebody like Betty Wright, that from the days that you was a little kid, gonna be a singer? At 2 years old, she put that mic in her hand and she didn't drop it down. At 14 years old, she was creating her first album. Baby, what will they say about you? What will they say about you? Will they say that you were the person that got in trouble, but it was good trouble? What will they say? That's what I want to ask you today. And it all comes from how you see yourself. See, we've got to get to a place where we can use examples of those that have transitioned and say, you know what, I'm tired of looking at this thing half full. Why did I come from the story of the Samaritan? Why did I come from the lady that said, you know what, if you knew who I was, you wouldn't be asking me for no water? Well, that's the truth. Because if I'm looking at just who you are and I'm trying to water this, y'all know how much dirt I got in there. It ain't even enough. And I said it ain't even enough. But here's what you do. When you look at it from Jesus' perspective, the man that, although I'm tired, if you understood that I got so much more to give, if you understand that I've got so much more talent inside of you, if you understood that the same gifts that I put inside of all of those people that we just talked about, I put inside of you, and I want you to take their life and their legacy and the icon that I want you to just let me do something with it. See, this is enough water with my, this is enough water because you got to saturate the soil. Pouring from this, yes, you can. You can keep pouring from this, but if I tried to even go here, I'm already out. God says, I give you something that will never run out. But we've got to learn to look at life from a different lens, from a different perspective. We can't be afraid to get our hands dirty. We can't be afraid to find the positive things that are in even the stuff that looks like it's just, why? Why at such a young age? Why back to back to back to back? And could it be that God is trying to just get our attention and say, look, I am the God that replenishes. Tree that came from another pineapple. I took this and I'm going to make another one. Just like there was a Betty Wright, there's another Betty Wright that's watching me right now. Just like another Kobe Bryant that's watching right now. Just like there was a John Lewis, there's another John Lewis that's watching me right now. Just like there was a Chadwick Boseman, there's another Chadwick Boseman that's watching me right now. And not them, because see, you got to put your own identity on it, baby. What I'm saying is there's actors out there that's watching. There's government officials out there that's watching. There's civil rights icons that's watching. And you don't even know that that's what God is doing with you. He said, take their life and use it as something that you can grow from. There's singers that are watching. There's athletes that are watching. Some of y'all got the gift of producing music and you watch. Some of you are just YouTube stars in the making, baby. You say stuff and folks start watching you and they start listening. What I want you to do is learn how to say, Jesus, pour on my soil, Jesus, so that I can take the life and the legacy of other people and I can get something out of it. I can get something out of it outside of just being sad and in despair and losing hope. You can't be in that state. If there's anything that you want to do to really honor the lives of those individuals, just those 8 alone that I mentioned, let it be that you walked in their shoes, that you used their life as a legacy, as a roadmap on this journey, just like Jesus, that it says in John that you can get tired along the journey, but don't get weary in your well-doing. Use their life and their legacy as a roadmap to show you how to press, how to keep going, how to give it all that you've got. There's something inside of you. And if you still walking this earth, honey, and you living and you breathing and you moving, got the activity of your limbs and you can think for yourself, you still got a voice, you still got eyes where you can still see what's out there, you still got your ears to the ground where you can take in stuff and process, there's still something God has for you to do. Don't you allow the devil to make you look at life and say it's half empty. He always wants you to look at things and see that it's half. He wants you to find what's missing. Something that's missing. And every time someone transitions, what we begin to do is say, wow, that's another person gone. And you think that took away from you. That's another person that just died. And it's so sad. And from you. Man, but they were so young. And it's taken away from you. This is what I want you to get into the place of doing. God, fill me back up again. Show me what to get out of their life. This just happened. God, fill me back in. Fill me back up. Show me what to do with this that I just saw on the news. God, another shooting. Fill me back up. See, we've got to get to a place. Fill us up. Fill us up. And I want you to get to a place where you let him fill you up. Woo! Baby, till you're overflowing. So when you're at a place where you can look at stuff that's going on in life and it doesn't shut you down. It doesn't get you to a place where you can't function. It doesn't get you to a place where you can't pray. It doesn't get you to a place where you can't sleep. You let that life, you let Jesus overflow. You begin to say, wait a minute, I'm drinking from a cup. There's a song that says that never runs dry. Jesus never runs out, y'all. But it all goes to our perspective. So I started out with this song, Give It All You Got. I started out asking you about your perspective. Honey, what I want you to do today, I want you to really, really reprocess what's happened in 2020. I want you to reprocess and look at the legacies that really have been left behind. I want you to reprocess the contributions that Mr. Kobe Bryant did with Mamba mentality. I want you to reprocess it and say, am I giving the best version of myself today? And am I better today than I was yesterday? And if not, honey, we halfway through the day, you still got time. You still got time. I want you to step back and reprocess the life of Mr. Fred. Yes, he was bald-headed. He was unique and he stood out. Are you allowing God to let your stand out work for you? Are you being the best unique you that you can be? Are you embracing the thing and letting that thing work for your good? What are you doing with it? I want you to take the time today and reprocess the life of Mr. Andre Harrell. There's a creative gift. You have the skill of collaboration. You know how to bring people together, and you know how to bring in the Puffies and the MJs. You know how to bring folks into a room and get them to move and create something different that Mr. Harrell left behind. The roadmap, that collaboration is actually pretty good. What are you going to do today? I want you to reprocess the life right. Some of you got some young folks around you. Encourage them in their gifts. She started out at 2 years old singing. Some of y'all, like Miss Betty Wright, you went through a divorce. You had a separation. I want you to reprocess that thing. Mean your life is really over? Does that mean that you ain't got nothing else to give? Does that mean that you're down for the count, honey? Just because you went through a divorce? Baby, I think not. Reprocess that thing and let her light and her life be a legacy and a roadmap so that you can get through the rest of this year. Some of you, I want you to reprocess Miss Nicole Thea. You have and you've been silent way too long. There are people that are waiting to find some gifts and some talents, and you've been trying to say, well, let me just do this and let me just do that. Let me tell you, as a business entrepreneur, I used to think that way. I really used. I said, let me do one thing and do it well. But what God showed me is life is so doggone short and unpredictable. Baby, you better use every skill, gift, talent. You better use it now. If you know how to do something, give it all you got. Don't you wait and say I'll get around to it next year. Don't you wait and say I'll do it next week. Every gift and talent that God gave you, you know. Use your stuff while you got it, honey, while you still have time. Some of you, I want you to reprocess the life of Mr. C.T. John Lewis. I need you to get in some good trouble. You see this, what's going on, and you have the influence. You have the influence with your podium. You have the influence in your church. You have the influence. You have the influence where people listen to you. Use your voice. But pull back on these words that Mr. Lewis said. He said, it's not a time to get lost in despair. If you want to add what he said, this is the time where we've got to be hopeful and optimistic. I want you to reprocess and look at Mr. Chadwick Boseman. And I want you to ask yourself, what am I going to do with What am I going to do with this legacy that this man left behind? Don't just get caught up in the movies that he did. I want you to get caught up in how he did it. He did it with medical condition. He did it in between surgeries. He did it in between chemotherapy. He knew that he had a time that was set, but he kept on doing what he was created to do. Some of you get that perseverance in and that press in and do what you were created to do. But when you do all of that, pull in Jesus. Get something that'll keep you refreshed. Because if we look at life again from our half perspective, we'll always fall short. We'll always fall short. But when we get to a place where we can look at life and say, wait a minute, I'm pulling on God, and he refills me. Every time there's a death, he refills me. Every time he refills me. If we will, when we feel that we're low, we start tugging on Jesus, you'll see things a little bit differently. There's no way that I can see this as half empty. It's not possible, because it's not. And I want you to start looking at your life as one that needs to stay filled. Stay filled. But it all comes back to perspective. How do you choose to see things today? Choose to see your one where God gave us so many examples and lessons that we can pull from. And we can say, God, I can do it too. So that's what I want to give you today, baby. That's what I want to give you. As I told you, we started out that song, Give It All You Got. That's your challenge for today. That's your challenge for today. You might need to pull that song up on YouTube to have your little music going. Do 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 do. And y'all know how I said, get up on this. Give it all you got. Give it all you got. Y'all, I really think I could have been a DJ back in the day. I just love music. I think I got some DJ in me. I might have to try that out. Baby, give it all you've got. Go into this Tuesday. Look at these that God has given us in 2020 and give it all you got. Process it, but don't let it put you in a place of despair. Look at it. This was their life. This is the legacy they left behind. What you gonna do with it? I decided that I'm gonna take that legacy and I was gonna use it as an example. I planted me a pineapple tree. Yes, I did. And we're gonna take this pine in a couple of months, maybe a year. I got patience. We're gonna have example, I'm going to take what life gives me and I'm going to do something with it. So that's all I'm telling you to do. Do the same. Take what life and productive with it. Don't just do something productive with it. Grow something out of the dirt that life throws your way. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty in the process, God. Look, hey, what I tell you about that living water? He'll clean your hands off, baby. He'll clean your hands off. Yes, he will. He'll clean your hands off. Honey, you go and you have an amazing day. Y'all see, I'm just excited and I'm happy because now I'm getting ready to go put that in the sunlight. Yes, I am. And we're going to watch tree grow, baby. We're gonna watch it grow. But I want you to go and have an amazing day. You know it's Tuesday, honey. You know I shared my lunch break with y'all. Now I got to go on back to work, so I'm going to give Caesar his time. But I love each and every one of you. Please take this message and share it with somebody, someone, so that they can be encouraged, because there's so many. You're welcome, Keisha. I love you, girl. There's so many people that are really in despair right now. They turn on the news and they see death after death and legend after legend and icon and civil rights activists and actors and athletes that are just transitioning, and they are in despair. Show them with this message that they can take their legacy, and they don't have to be in a place of just, oh my goodness, what's going on? They can be in a place where, you know what, this just happened, and God, show me what I can get out of their life so that I can make my life and somebody else's life better. Because what I believe about just those 8 people alone, that they were trying to impact the world, not just in their life, but even in the transitioning of their death. They made an impact on this world with the legacy that lay left behind. So if you would share this message today and remind them that they still got something to give, honey. They still got something to give, and this is the season where we've got to maximize our life and give it all that we've got. Y'all got me? Thumbs up. Thank you, Daddy. I see it grow, 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 grow. You guys, I'll see you next Tuesday. Y'all know it's Labor Day, but we're going to come on Tuesday. So I'll see you next Tuesday at 11:30. Air kisses, because my hand's still dirty. Air kisses. Mwah. From my heart to your heart, I love y'all and have an amazing day. Sunlight and then Caesar time. Let me go on and get back to work, honey. Let me go on and get back to work.